Hey, it's December 12th. It's a Thursday, my regular class. We're trying to struggle our way through a week before we get to the week before break. And then it's also a full moon, and tomorrow's Friday the 13th, and there's a big school dance. And no kid is insane whatsoever. So, let's take a look at shadow clubby things that we have behind us up here. One, I'm going to be showing you a thing where if you're at home, it's not going to help you as much, but it's for an activity we're doing tomorrow. There is a winter dance from 7 to 9 p.m. If you're a girly person and you're not sure if your dress is appropriate, you can let me know and I can let you tell you, because I'm one of the people who has to awkwardly approve, and so I can help guide you in your choices. And then blah, 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 keyboard stuff. This is my handful of kids who are still missing it, but I'm tracking them down today. Most of you guys should be fine. If you're at home, then hopefully I'm not having to torture you.
You can't torture them.
And then our notebook comes due Tuesday. It's 125-ish points. Your table of contents is worth 30 points. I would not throw that, Mohammed. Hey, you made it. Well, just making sure. Just trying to help you save points, but you made it in there. Go you. Trying to help the rest of you. On here, when you can leave it in there. With notebook that I don't have to charge you points next week, I fear we're going to get to Tuesday, and so yeah, that's why I locked it.
Oh, snap!
Get to the point where from there, you guys are not going to be able to know that we have a notebook come due next week, and you're going to freak out about it. So just trying to help you out as far as that one goes. So again, do your table of contents. Be ready for table of contents. So make sure you have all the stuff in there. I'll pick it up from you on Tuesday. Question about my notebook?
Yes.
Journey?
Do you have... So, will we get extra credit? Like, is there an extra credit day for you turning it in?
Unfortunately, that was because I gave me a chance to grade them ahead of time, and because I have all the other stuff. I know. You're not the only kid who's pouted at me, and I apologize, but, yeah.
That's depressing.
Tomorrow, it says over there, Socrative Circle. That is different than our Socrative Seminar. The Socrative test we take, where you guys get a chance to talk to each other. That's different. That's the Socrative test. We're doing a Socrative seminar or a Socrative circle. Tomorrow is basically an all-day discussion thing. We're going to get a chance to talk to each other. It is not me talking. It is you guys talking. It is going to be a student-led discussion. My desks are going to be set up in a different pattern. It is not going to be the normal way. It is going to look like this. 2 circles, an inner circle of 15 chairs, and then an outer circle of 15 chairs. And the way it's going to work as we go through our discussion, there are rules that sort of go into it, so we're not just yelling at each other. Those of you who are in the inside circle, you are the only... There's not 15 up there if you're trying to count. I couldn't fit all the circles, so relax. It's okay, Tiger. Those of you on the inside circle, you are the only ones who get a chance to talk. So you're going to get a chance to speak out loud. Those of you on the outside circle, you do not get to speak out loud. You only get to use your iPad to communicate, and that is it.
That's cool.
Then you are going to flip every 7 to 10 minutes. And the kids who are outside move inside, inside moves outside. And the kids who are just talking out loud, now you don't get to talk. You only get to type responses, and that's it. Those of you who were typing, you have to close iPad, and now you have to do a talkie out loud thing. For those of you who don't want to type, that's fine. You'll just sit there and stare at people. For those of you who get freaked out and don't want to talk, you don't have to talk. You'll still be part of discussion. Some of you are more typey people, and some of you guys are more talky people. And this will give both of you a chance to have your chance to interact and stuff like that. Our conversation tomorrow is we focus on the idea of bullying and what our school can do to fix it from your viewpoint. What is it you see as a way of fixing and moving forward and changing the world? So it'll be your opinion. Here's where your iPad comes in. When you are on the outside circle, we are going to be using a thing called back channel chat. Some of you may have used this in some of the composition classes. I'm going to have you log into it now so you get a chance to experience it. Here is where you're going to try hard not to make poor choices. Because I can, as it says here on screen, I can see everything you are writing. So when you make poor choice, it costs you B points. Tomorrow, I am going to delete things every time you make a poor choice. You're going to go poor choice,
That's cool.
I'm going to go delete. You're going to go thing, I'm going to go delete. Every time I have to delete it, I charge you points. Some of you guys cannot afford that. Today, I'm going to let you play with it for a moment. So here's where you are opening iPad. You are going into it. You will get a chance to see my previous classes stuff if you get a chance to scroll up. Try not to make some of the poor choices they made. I will forgive you if you are dorky or dumb with your responses today. Tomorrow, I'll be a bit more strict with it. Before you say how rude, log in, scroll up, look, and then go, oh, I see what he's talking about. And so this is where I'm trying to give you a chance to get into it. So you should see on my website, giant button that says click here for chat. If you can't see it, let me know so I can make fun of you. Did you go to my website? The one that has right there? Jackson. I do, but you don't need it right now. If you can't, yeah, just means you don't do it. Problem solved. Delaney. Yes. Did you go to my website, MrBroviac.com? Are you on the front website? Then you scroll down, and there's a button that says click here. Nope, you're not on the front website. www.MrBroviac.com.
So what are we doing?
Journey. Nope, as long as I can find your name. I just need to know who's making, because we're getting into it, we're going to be having a conversation back and forth with each other, so I need to know who I'm conversating with. Kaiser.
So do we need our last name?
Yes. We need the part where it says log in, last name, first name.
I'm just talking back and forth.
Again, this is where I feel to remind you, I do get to see everything you are writing, so I'm just trying to help you with the choices bits. Did you figure it out, Ryan?
I'm a teacher.
MrBroviac.com. Big button that says click here.
Thing.
Journey.
I can't go to this. I'm a teacher.
No,
If you are a teacher.
Okay.
You're not a teacher.
No.
So do we just press start?
Yeah, there's a button right here that says click this button. Yeah, giant button.
Do you get in trouble for saying boomer?
No. I'm not a boomer, nor do I care about a boomer.
Oh, that's mean.
Are you a boomer?
Yes.
Yeah, well then there you go. Okay, boomer, settle. That's right. You done been served like a plate. Alright, so we're good.
Plate served.
So now,
You gonna type this off?
I will tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be interacting with you. Today, I was just letting you log in to sort of see how it looks, so you can figure things out. Yeah. Today's just the giving you a chance to get in and see it, have you sit there and giggle, then in a moment I'm getting ready to have you guys close them, so we're going to move on.
Down, Tiger.
Nicole!
Maya, stop.
You should update the photo because there's some my thing's not on the thing.
You are correct. It is not updated up to the second. I'm sorry, that's not how magic works.
Down, Tiger.
Kaiser, raise your hand with pride.
My thing isn't showing up.
Hit refresh at the top. Yeah, if it's not showing up, hit refresh like at the very top of your screen, like for the whole thing. Not the first kid that it freaked me out also. I'm like, I don't know. Oh, there it is. And it just went, ching, and it all appeared. So then it was like magic.
Salmon.
All right. Tomorrow, if you make poor choices in here about posting random things, that's where it's going to come back to haunt you. That's where I figured now I would let you get it out of your system with your OK Boomerang. Tomorrow, I will have a much more of a hard time with it because every time I have to delete you, it is then going to cost you points and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to help you choose wisely. All right. Now, those of you at home, you don't get to play this game at the moment because it's going to be closed after school. So I know, sadness. As a kid earlier told me, you should have this open all the time. I'm like, yeah, because you guys wouldn't make poor choices on that one. So I'm going to go with... So now, close iPad, push iPad away.
Guys, everyone look at what I sent.
If not, I'm going to walk over and then lock you all out and lock your iPads for you and be all grumpy.
No.
Journey. What?
I need to disconnect my keyboard.
Yeah, we're done for today.
Mr. Broviac,
Okay,
I need to
Yeah, I didn't plan it. They were just planning to do it the Friday before. They didn't want to do it next Friday because they thought that'd be bad. And so, yeah. Pretty much any time we do it, it's probably going to be bad. All right. Now back to, actual learning and stuff like that.
That looks like me.
Quick question. Has anyone read ahead and finished book yet?
Yes. Of course.
For those of you who have, you're in for a little bit of a treat that the other kids don't get. Because the scene we're going to read today, if you finish the book, it takes on a whole different meaning. And so the kids who have not read it and they're experiencing it for the first time, they get to go. It's sort of like riding a roller coaster, and like the first time you go up it, you're like, chuck it, chuck it, chuck it, chuck it. You're like, I have no idea. But those of you who've already been on roller coaster, you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my. So you get that feeling as we're going to go through it, you're going to get a chance to experience things that the other kids don't get to have.
Wait, what page are you?
I'm going to show you in a moment. Down, Tiger.
Oh, grr, grr.
Again, you guys are experiencing this. Now imagine my other classes, which don't even try to be good. And now you get to see what kind of day I have.
Trying to be good. I'm not trying to be good.
We are good.
I am good.
Right. Then, before I get a chance to read with you, conversation bits. Two things he just figures out about Tyson? The bedwetter and the marionettes. I'm assuming probably not at the same time. Why does Jared want the club thing to stop?
Lay low.
Because Mr.
Nicely done.
Rise and shine.
Take it from me if you make me. He feels bad and is worried about the fact that if they keep doing it, then they're going to get figured out, and then bad things are going to come back to haunt them and stuff like that. Between Jared and Cheryl, what's going on?
They're dating.
Nicely done. They are a couple and stuff like this. It's getting all creepy.
I mean,
What happened with basketball player Eric Kilfoyle's locker?
Painted.
Nicely done.
He airballed the ball.
They dumped the black paint, which we're going to find more out about in a moment. Mr. Diller's camera.
Hidden in Tommy Nichols' locker.
And that's where we find out and Tommy Nichols claims he was innocent. And then David Berger's trumpet. The bus backs over it, so I'm guessing he didn't just leave it there on his own. Who does the Shadow Club suspect? We are suspecting it's Tyson because he knows about it. We also find out what other person knows about it.
Mr. Green.
And what does Mr. Green want Jared to do? And that's where he says, hey, I fear that this is a gang. He's like, it's not a gang. And he's like, well, then let anyone join. He can't join because he's creepy. And so we have like that the whole issue from there. They yell back. Ooh, and we're going to go to page 131, where we're going to find out the name of this next chapter, which is What Ralphie Said. And then to remind you, anything Ralphie says, what do we know about it? Keep that in mind. That is going to play a role as we move forward. All right. So page 131. What?
Oh. Can we shut the door? That's
all you do is you confront them.
That's okay, we'll survive.
Unfortunately, shutting the door would not solve that because it's vibrating through the walls.
What? We could
Science.
When things get bad, boy, do they get bad. I thought that maybe if the Shadow Club laid low for a while and didn't play any tricks, then Green might leave us alone. Maybe everything would be all right, but things weren't all right. I had hoped that David Berger's flattened trumpet would be the last of the mysterious pranks, but it was not. Someone was terrorizing the Unbeatables. Someone who didn't care how much the Unbeatables got hurt or how much property was destroyed. And this person, whoever it was, thought they could get away with it by blaming the Shadow Club. There was only one person who knew enough about the Shadow Club to do that. Tyson McGaw. I say we give him what he deserves, said Randall as we sat around Stonehenge at our next meeting. Yeah, said Darren. We should beat the daylights out of him and force him to confess. And then get him expelled from school for it, added Jason. Everyone else agreed. No, we have no proof. We can't do anything like that yet. What other proof do we need? Asked Abby. He's the only other one who knows about the club. It has to be him. We can't do anything yet, though. Not until we can prove he's doing the pranks. Yeah, he's innocent until proven guilty, added Cheryl. Even though we know he's guilty. So what do we do? Asked OP. Just sit around and wait to be blamed for everything? What if something really bad happens? Don't worry. I mean, Tyson's crazy, but he's not that crazy. Nothing really bad is going to happen. Whew. Boy, was I wrong. By the way, what is that an example of?
Foreshadowing.
Nicely done. Foreshadowing. Well done, Nicole.
Big brain.
Big brain.
Good job, OP. Oh, sorry. The next week, the entire club vowed to look for the unbeatables, watching them as well as watching Tyson, to make sure that no more pranks were pulled. We must have done a lousy job of it, though, because on Thursday, during lunch, Drew Landers became the next victim. Drew, as I've told you, is a swimmer, and very much into it. In fact, he had this obsession with anything that had to do with swimming. It only made sense then that Drew had a thing for fish. For as long as I knew Drew, he had always had a fish tank. There was one thing in his room that he kept clean. And he had a second tank in school, in Mr. Milburn's room. I guess because he considered himself a human fish, he had a weird sort of affection for his cousins in the tank. Anyway, that 60-gallon tank had sat in Mr. Milburn's classroom since Drew started 7th grade. And now, a year later, it was still there, filled with starfish, sea anemones, and brightly colored saltwater fish. They were pretty, they were expensive, and Drew loved those fish like most normal people might love a pet dog. Every once in a while, some bozo would drop something stupid into the tank. A bar of soap, or maybe the shavings from the classroom pencil sharpener. And once, someone put red food coloring in the tank. After Mr. Milburn changed the water, the fish seemed fine, although they were sort of pink for a while. No matter what dumb things kids did to that tank, those fish always seemed to come out of their ordeals all right, but not this time. During lunch, Mr. Milburn always locked his room and went down to the teacher's lounge to fall asleep while listening to the rest of the teacher's gossip. Well, as everyone knows, school classroom locks are the easiest in the world to pick. All you have to do is slide a hanger into the door jamb and bingo. By the way, in case you're making plans, I don't think ours open like that, but if you want a weekend hobby, you're welcome to break into school and give it a try. Well, that's what someone did. And then that same someone dropped a firecracker into Drew's fish tank. Now, there are firecrackers, and then there are firecrackers. They're the kind they call safe and sane, and there are the kind that are more like hand grenades. There are cherry bombs and M80s that, when put in a strategic location, can do an awful lot of damage. But the worst, by far, are blockbusters. Packed into the cylinder of a blockbuster is a quarter stick of dynamite. And when one goes off, it can be heard for miles. I don't know how they did it, but someone rigged up a blockbuster to go off in that fish tank. And when it blew, nothing in the room was safe. The tank turned into one huge bomb, sending glass and water flying in all directions, shredding plants and tearing paper on the walls. The room became a war zone. Now, I was out on the field with Cheryl and Randall, consoling Randall from his recent humiliation. It seemed that the day before, after swim practice, Drew threw Randall out of the locker room with no clothes on. Almost the second I had convinced Randall it was better to forget about it for a while, we heard the explosion. Boom! It was so loud, you'd swear the whole school had blown up. The blast echoed from the high school, across the large field, and a strange silence followed. Everyone turned toward the school. Not again, said Cheryl. At first, we all thought this was yet another school fire. But in a moment, I began to suspect it was another evil prank. I turned to look for Tyson and couldn't find him. And that sick feeling returned to my stomach, along with the cold feeling to my hands. Meanwhile, several teachers ran into the school to evacuate the remaining students. For all they knew, a gas line could have blown up. Someone pulled the fire alarm, and in minutes, the fire trucks arrived. It didn't take long for the firemen to find out what had happened. From what I heard, there was nothing left of the fish tank, and that collection of fish that Drew Landers had spent years putting together was gone in a fiery fraction of a second. "Tell me the truth, Randall," said a kid after school. Cheryl and I were talking before I went off to track practice, and, as usual, Randall was hanging around with us, making obnoxious comments about the fact that we spent so much time together. When this kid, I don't know, someone on the swim team, I guess, came up to us and asked Randall a question. "Tell me the truth. Didn't you blow up Drew's fish tank?" "Now tell me the truth." "I won't tell anyone." Randall was speechless. He turned to Cheryl. See? What I tell you? Just because of what he did to me yesterday, everyone's going to think that I blew up his tank. I'm being framed, he yelled. And then he turned to the kid. "No, I didn't do it. Just get out of here, all right?" "Yeah, I'll bet you didn't do it," said the kid, and then ran off. "You better keep your mouth shut, because I didn't," yelled Randall, as the kid ran away. He turned to me and Cheryl. "I mean, you know I didn't, right? I was there with you all during lunch. You know I was." "I know, and you know, but who's going to believe us?" "I see a pattern emerging," said Cheryl. "Have you noticed that these pranks have been pulled soon after the victim has done something really mean to a member of the Shadow Club?" "Huh?" said Randall. "By the way, those of you who've already finished the book, this is where your roller coaster is continuing." "Think about it, Blimp Brain," said Cheryl to her brother. "Eric Kilfoyle's locker was filled with paint the day after Darren nearly got into a fight with him. Darren told me about that. David Berger's trumpet got run over the day after David was chosen to play for the high school band again, and he made Jason feel miserable about it. Tommy Nichols had just beat out OP for a place in the district science fair before the camera incident, and now Drew's fish tank explodes the day after he threw you out of the locker room naked. Then someone's definitely trying to frame us." "Exactly. And if anyone finds out about the club, then we're going to be the prime suspects. We're the only ones with motives." "We're already suspects," I said. "'Cause, someone already knows about the club." Cheryl and Randall turned to me with that end-of-the-world look in their eyes. "Green knows. I don't think he knows what we've done, but he knows about the club. And I'm sure he suspects us. Until then, I hadn't told anyone." "How?" "Tyson told him. I'm sure of it." "Tyson," said Randall with a hiss in his voice that made him sound like a snake. "I told you he was behind all of this." "It has to be," said Cheryl. "I'll bet we could prove Tyson blew up the fish tank," said Randall. "Fingerprints or something." And then another voice entered the conversation. "I saw him do it," said a voice. We all turned around, and standing there, braces, freckles, curly hair, and all, was Ralphie Sherman. You're talking about the fish tank, right?" said Ralphie. Yeah, I saw Tyson McGaw blow it up." We were all quiet. Ralphie blew a big, fat bubblegum bubble, and it popped in his face, sticking to his eyebrows. He peeled it off and popped it back into his mouth. "Yeah, it's true. I was in the classroom. I saw it." How could you have been in the classroom? You would have been killed by the exploding tank." "Oh, well, not in the classroom, but looking into the window. I saw Tyson do it. Honest." "But, wait, I saw you in the field when it went off, Ralphie," said Randall. "Yeah, darn right. I wasn't going to stay around. The blockbuster was about to go off. I left as quickly as I could." We all looked at Ralphie. Ralphie Sherman, who couldn't pass a true or false exam because he didn't know the difference. Should we believe this? Ralphie blew another bubble, this one bigger than his whole head. And when it popped, it stuck to his hair. He peeled it away and shoved the gum back into his mouth. You know what? I believe him." "Me too," said Cheryl. "So do I," said Randall. Ralphie's eyes lit up. "You do? Really? Honestly? Truly? You believe me?" "Yeah," I said. Ralphie smiled and skipped off toward his bus, the happiest boy in the world. By the way, what can we probably infer about that? What? Why do they believe him then?
Because Tyson behind us.
They need evidence, and now they have the evidence, and so all the time they say he's lying until all of a sudden he says what they want to hear, like, no, he's telling the truth. That's definitely the truth. And so now they're all behind it again, too. All right. From there, by the way, we do have reading checkpoints, but not until Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to give you guys the heads up tomorrow when we get to the reading checkpoints. I know Wednesdays is going to be page 201. I believe Tuesdays is, I'm looking now, 177. So if you're wanting to know now, your checkpoint for Tuesday is page 177, and then your checkpoint for Wednesday is going to be page 201. So it gives you a heads up. I would recommend reading ahead and not trying to leave those 25 pages for that night. But, I mean, if you have nothing else going next Tuesday, more power to you. Just trying to help you out. Toodles!